Those have told us the public hearing by the Committee on Municipal Affairs, Tourism, Housing, and Hagåtña Restoration and Redevelopment Authority is now called to order. Is at about 10:34 this morning. For the record and in accordance to 5 GCA Chapter 8, subsection 8107, notices of this public hearing were sent out via email to all senators and all main media broadcasting outlets on Monday, January 13th, 2014, which meets the 5-day notice, and then a second notice was sent out on Thursday, January 16th, 2014, which meets the 48-hour notice requirement. On the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we have Resolution 279-32 COR, and it's relative to promoting affordable alternative regional transportation between Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands by means of ferry service or similar vessel. This resolution was introduced by myself, Senator Respicio, and Speaker Wampat, and I hope to get the rest of my colleagues from the 32nd Guam Legislature to support me in this endeavor. To my right, joining me is Speaker Wampat, thank you, and also she is the President of the Association of Pacific Island Legislators, and to her right is our Vice Speaker and also my Vice Chair on this committee, Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz. Thank you for joining us. And to my immediate left, Senator Tom Atta, who's the Chair of Utilities and Transportation. So with that being said, we do have folks that have signed up to testify, but I'd be remiss if I didn't extend a warm day to the delegation of Rhoda and Saipan who are here with us this morning. Thank you for taking the time to come out for this Resolution 279, but more importantly, undonklo na si Diyos Maasi for all that you've done in our efforts to collaborate and meet before this public hearing, and I'm most appreciative at the hospitality and the warmth of both the Saipan and Rhoda Hafaday Spirit. So Saina Maasi Hamza Dorisa here to testify with us this morning, and I will go ahead and call them up. The Mayor from Rhoda, Mayor Melker Mendiola, put for board. Also joining us is Mr. Thomas J. Camacho, the Commonwealth Transit Authority Office, put for board. Mr. Martin Mendiola, who is from the Rhoda Commercial Port Authority. I also have here Mr. Fred Schmidt. Please join us up here, who is here to present oral testimony, and one who says is here in support and has come here to show support as a Rhoda resident, Mr. Frank Cepeda. Thank you, Si Diyos Maasi, for coming here at today's hearing. I will go ahead and yield, and if I can, ask everybody when they present their testimony to go ahead and speak into their mics, state their name for the record, where they're from, and if they're in support or not in support of the bill, then they can go ahead and read or present their testimony. So, por favor, consigi, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Si Diyos Maasi, dan buenos dias para ando naman honorable legislatur ng Guahan, no felicitamos en cuenta de luta, mas namagos dan solemne na buenos dias, lo que pues tendi pareo na saludo para todo man presente pago gini na official meeting por un artículo na para umanagwaha fina transportasyon na para o sinedbi i halom Marianas, lo incluso luta tinian dan Saipan como Commonwealth na Estado, no hulili estegi na dongkulo na importante merito, ana eksinya loki hakadga hulo necesidad ekonomiya parewa ipofinavorece Guam dan hamiloki i Commonwealth como un propósito ipatana adbito Isalan turista siya como enigi i major pati ekonomiya ta. Tafana azu da gwen espiritu za huksektan di domklon sa potasyon. Za loki no dispensa sa hafaisen zo i delegasyon mami. Especialmente ginin luta si Senator Taimanyo, si Senator Hokok, si Senator Manglonia dan si Congresswoman no Santos pa-extend lo que suportasyon niya po que no kulang fanan wahap no meeting niya sa ipan sa kulang maprometyo na danggin siya po so fanggagi lo kulang tipo posible lo espiritu ng suportasyon gagi lo que na huentratraga en cuenta gid siya pues Dios mo si da hulili que la domkulo na oportunidad anay patafandanya data pareho dumibelo tana materialisya lo que ekonomiya gihalom turista gihalom hita necesaryo na patapsangan na podeno siya itaw-tawhidom lo mismo hita ni Manumelon Marianas el más importante lo que nito fanlahiot data fanapipit gi beneficyon ekonomiya zaninaweza gihalom Marianas si Diyos maasi.
Buen provecho, Mayor. Mr. Tom Camacho.
Jesus Masi. Buenos Dan Hafade, Speaker Wangpat, Vice Speaker BJ Cruz, Legislative Secretary Tina Muña Barnes, then si Senator Tom Agda, Chairman the Utilities and Transportation Committee. Thank you for inviting me to appear before you this morning to testify on resolution number 279-32. I am here on behalf of the CNY Governor, Eloy S. Inus, the Commonwealth Public Transportation Advisory Board, and the Commonwealth Office of Transit Authority. My name is Thomas J. Camacho. I'm currently the Governor's Special Assistant for Public Transportation under the Commonwealth Office of Transit Authority. I'm currently serving as a member and Chairman of the Commonwealth Public Transportation Advisory Board. The Office of the Governor and Lieutenant Governor, the Commonwealth Public Transportation Advisory Board, and the Commonwealth Office of Transit Authority applauds Senator Tina Rose Muña Barnes, Senator R.J. Respicio, and Senator J.T. Wampat for initiating and introducing this very essential measure in the interest of regional stewardship and, of course, in the spirit of One Marianas. I'd like to just take a little bit of time to talk a little bit about COTA, which is our initial nickname. The Commonwealth Office of Transit Authority was created under a statute and officially established and opened its doors in August 2011, and is the agency charged with the authority to develop, establish, and oversee a transportation system for the Commonwealth. Additionally, COTA is mandated in collaboration with the Commonwealth Public Transportation Advisory Board to assess the Commonwealth's transportation needs and develop a viable public transportation system. Currently, COTA operates a demand response system and a caller right stipend service open to the general public. By this year, COTA anticipates launching its first public transit system to be known as the Saipan Fixed Flex Route, with expansion plans to neighboring islands of Rora and Tinian. Moreover, CNMI is in the process of selecting a consultant to conduct the Saipan-Tinian Route Ferry Service feasibility study for inter-island marine transportation. Although the scope of work of the study originally included Rora and Guam, the committee, due to limited funding sources and recommendations from Federal Highway Administration, decided to reduce the scope to just Saipan and Tinian, since there already exists data from previous operator, and because a ferry system existed in the past between Saipan and Tinian for several years. The committee also agreed to support a separate feasibility study between Rora and Guam, and is definitely in the CNMI's and COTA's transit plans. Previous private operator of Tinian Saipan only passenger ferry ceased operation in 2009 due to the Commonwealth's bad economy. About inter-island and regional cooperation, the Commonwealth Office of Transit Authority is participating in the ongoing Saipan-Tinian Route Ferry Service feasibility study for inter-island marine transportation. Should this study suggest that a ferry boat operation between Saipan and Tinian is a viable operation, COTA stands ready to work with local stakeholders implement those recommendations. On a regional level, a voluntary interlocal agreement should be drawn up so that resources can be pooled and routes coordinated for possible auto passenger ferry service between Guam and the CNMI, mainly the island of Rota. Signatories to the agreement should include local and municipal governments with a stake in auto passenger ferry operations, transit agencies, ports, highway, labor, and potential private operators. In that sense, we may consider recommendations between CNMI and Guam to include a consolidated Regional Transportation Commission for COTA and GRTA, which is the Guam Regional Transit Authority, to plan, prioritize, and fund regional transit projects. If such an entity is ultimately created for Guam CNMI, it would be important to consider anew the merits of including auto passenger ferries planning. Funding under its umbrella, due in part to the daily interplay between ferries and other transit modes and transportation facilities. I'd like to touch a bit on emergency preparedness lifeline. Auto passenger ferries should also be developed in order to assist in emergency preparedness. If our islands are devastated by a natural disaster or airline service interruption between Guam and Rota, evacuation and available alternative passenger transportation mode via ferry between Guam and Rota is imminent. Guam-Rota region will need a flotilla of public-private passenger vessels that are U.S. Coast Guard certified to help assure the mobility for emergency responders and others. I'd like to add on financing. We support the initial financing plan for feasibility study of Rota Guam ferry boat system. Unlike previous privately operated with no local and federal subsidy, passenger-only ferry service between Tinan and Saipan, it is essential for a study to include a financial service plan that recommends financing and one that provides optional financing of the management and operations of such a system. However, we recommend public-private partnership where the government, GRTA, and COTA own 51%, including the vehicles, and regulate their operations, while 49% privately operated and maintenance under a service contract agreement. As the Saipan-Tinan ferry system study progresses to completion, we encourage the territory of Guam to consider the broad regional approaches in the future, and it is useful to consider other funding sources as well. On improved docks, floats, parking, boat purchases, port facilities can take a leadership role. Additional funding sources for auto passenger ferries between Guam and Rota can include the Federal Transit Administration's Ferry Discretionary and the Federal Highway Administration's Formula Funds, DOT Tiger grant, local taxes such as assessing fuel and sales, public parking meters, government subsidies comparable to other forms of public transit, and concessions at newly developed ferry gateways and advertisements. Marketing will play an essential but critically important factor to ensure operating budgets are maintained and increase revenue generation. Should the Guam CNMI ferry study favor that a ferry boat system is a viable operation in our region, both governments must support a sustainable public transportation system to ensure the management and operations of a ferry system operates for the long term. It's also essential that I talk about benefits of ferry system as a public transportation. It is essential at this time to share with you the benefits of public transportation, such as auto passenger ferry. For example, ferry service provides alternative to air service. It also will play as an inter-island commuter service for work, allows delivery service via mini delivery trucks and vans, is a tourist attraction, and plays an important role in emergency preparedness. Other benefits of public transit systems such as ferry enhance personal opportunities such as the mobility and freedom for people from every walks of life, creates jobs, provides access to job opportunities. Public transportation provides economic opportunities. For example, for every dollar communities invest in public transportation generates approximately $4 economic returns. Money invested in public transportation also supports and creates hundreds to thousands of jobs. Transit capital investment increases business sales, and transit operating investments yields in increased business sales as well. There's no way that we are to seclude private sector involvement, and I'd like to talk just a little bit about that. Public-private partnership will be necessary and should be encouraged to help engender enduring auto passenger ferry service in the CNMI and the region. There must be a convergence between the private passenger boat operators who provide sterling customer service and the experience and skill of maritime labor. Split ships should be allowed, staffing levels should be reasonable but not excessive, and wages good. In addition, opportunities should be sought to secure funding for auto passenger ferry infrastructure and operations through development of fees or concession revenue stemming from new or remodeled terminals. Speaking of terminals, should a viable auto passenger ferry boat system supports operation in our region, close consideration should be also given to roll-on, roll-off, or RORO, terminal and waiting facilities. The movement should be away from draft, utilitarian, unwanting structures to integrated transit nodes, which is with cool, comfortable shelter and a range of commercial amenities. Like other transit modes, auto passenger ferries will compete in a consumer marketplace for customers whose primary concern is their own comfort and convenience. The terminal facilities and boats should be designed with this concern in mind. On the regional demonstration routes, we support a demonstration maritime blue highway routes in a regional draft operating plan and the honoring approach that only those routes found to be feasible will become permanent. We believe there's significant potential for north-south 5.6 per mile each route between Guam and Rota, unlike Serpentinian route, or those shorter miles, which could force Sino Mine operators to provide alternative routes due to the planned military operation in the west of Tinian. In closing, Madam Speaker, Senator Barnes, Senator B.J. Cruz, and Senator Tom Abda, there is no doubt that the Sino Mine ferry system is and will remain an important part of our regional transportation system, most especially with our current situation on Rota. Water travel will be and is a necessity for residents in the islands of Guam and Rota. The reality is there's much work and many challenges lie ahead, but we also believe that collaborating as one Marianas, we can overcome, succeed, and make this plan become a reality, a system that will be designed to serve and connect our two islands as one Marianas, a model for the Pacific Island nation. Governor Ilo S. Inos and the Commonwealth Office of Transit Authority are very interested in this latest regional development and fully supports Guam Resolution number 279-32. Additionally, at the last board meeting held last Thursday, the Commonwealth Public Transportation Advisory Board unanimously voted in support of this measure. Therefore, we humbly ask this committee and the full members of the Guam 32nd Legislature to support and pass this measure in the best interest and for the common good of both Guam and the CNMI. Thank you, Jesus Masi, again for the opportunity to present and for considering this testimony.
You're very welcome, Mr. Camacho.
Thank you.
Mr. Mendiola?
Good morning, buenos dias, dan saludo gineni tautoluta. This testimony is submitted to the 32nd Guam Legislature relative to promoting affordable alternative regional transportation between Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands by means of ferry service or similar vessels. Introduced by T.R. Muña Barnes, R.J. Respicio, J.T. Wampat. My name is Martin Mendiola, a Bonifat resident of Rota, and I am here to testify that I am in favor and will continue supporting the intent of this resolution, of which I strongly believe that it is for economic benefit, most especially for the people of our Paradise Island, Luta. Before I proceed any further, first let me recognize and extend a warm Manana Sidus, Zandonkuluna Sidus Masi to the Honorable Senator Tina Muña Barnes, who is the chairman of this committee, and the Honorable Senator Rory Spicio, the Honorable Madam Speaker, Dr. Judy Wampat, and all the co-sponsors and the rest of the members of this esteemed body. Thank you for your untiring efforts to exploring ways to promote and expand mutually beneficial partnerships that are both affordable and sustainable. Indeed, it is my privilege to be part of this effort and look forward to continuing my involvement through providing the necessary assistance and support. A key component that is core to this proposal is stakeholder buy-in. As port manager of the Commonwealth Ports Authority on Rota, I offer my personal commitment towards garnering community involvement and support to move this plan forward. I envision at the same time, I have heard many positive and favorable responses from our people. Today, as in past decades, Rota has the highest fuel prices in the entire Mariana Islands chain, which includes Guam. The extra cost of fuel transshipment means we have the highest cost of utilities and all other commodities sold on island. On Rota, it is cheaper to receive cargoes and send them through air transportation than via a ship. This includes transporting of cars and trucks that can be shipped via cargo plane. The root of this is the lack of economy of scale, which when costs of imported goods are subsidized, or also subsidizes the cost to return empty shipping containers? How does all these tragic and pathetic negative economic conditions relate to the proposal embedded in this resolution? One, this proposal offers local co-ownership of alternative transportation that is affordable and sustainable. In my opinion, when affordable transportation is realized, it will be sustainable because it will fill a void in our desperate need to increase consumer demand through expansion of the visitor industry on Rhoda. Number two, when this plan materializes, it will directly and positively increase consumer demands, open investment opportunities, and encourage competitive markets, leading to more reasonable costs for consumer goods and services. Number three, built into this is the multiplier effect of spurring other new entrepreneurial opportunities in addition to our nature's treasures, flora and fauna, unmatched ancient Chamorro Laddie sites, world-class diving, golf, and new forms of visitor entertainments and family-oriented tour destinations. Number four, increased demand and benefits for homegrown local music, authentic cultural entertainment, genuine island cuisines, as well as expanding the market opportunities for local produce, value-added products, and cultural arts and crafts. As ambitious as these foregoing predictions may sound, this endeavor holds wholesome and realistic possibilities. The fact that we are gathered here having this conversation is necessary to demonstrate a high level of commitment on the part of our leaders from both government and private sector towards moving this plan forward. Honest and dedicated pursuit towards collaborative partnership from both sides will determine the speed to which we can expect progress. This resolution marks a significant step forward from the inception of a simple plan that brings us together, and today is our opportunity to take this to the next level. Now we need to recruit other members from each of our island communities to pledge active support and participate and partnership to include business entrepreneurs, investors, and government leaders. There are two recommendations that I would like to offer. Initially, limit the scope of this plan by establishing a pilot project of a Guam to Rhoda and Rhoda to Guam route, given the significant challenges that has to be overcome in terms of efficiency and affordability. There's also the challenge in terms of wave conditions that have direct impact on vessel capability, capacity, and speed plus comfort. The degree of success is directly correlated to these issues. Secondly, further expansion to Tinian and or Saipan will definitely benefit from lessons learned, reality check, and life experiences from the pilot project. This concludes my testimony, and take this opportunity to thank the members of this committee. I'm available for questions, clarifications. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Mr. Mangiola. Thank you for your presentation. And now I have Mr. Schmidt. Fred.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for each of the other senators for allowing me to come here and testify. My name is Fred Schmidt. I'm really here as a private citizen and resident of Guam in support of this project, not as a representative of Amorient Engineering or in any professional capacity. To give you a little bit of background of my interest in this, I lost count, but I think I've made 24 trips to Rhoda in the last 2.5 years for like 3-day weekend trips. I'm an avid scuba diver. And I've noticed the beauty of Rhoda, the need, as Mark Mendiola mentioned, the economic situation there needs a lot of help. But in thinking about it, my interest in it is, I think it's a mutual benefit to Guam. I think the 3-day mini vacation weekend trips to Rhoda could be a tremendous benefit to tourism for those that come here for 2, 3, 4 weeks. It offers another alternative to encourage them to stay longer. I don't see it taking away from the tourism base, but really adding to it. The germination of this whole concept came out from a conversation at a social gathering that I had with Senator Barnes oh gosh, even a year ago, when she found out I was traveling so much to Rhoda, and then I came to her 2-3 months ago, I think, Senator, I'm not sure. And we started talking about it, and she expressed interest in supporting it, because my view as a businessman is this is something that requires the cooperation of both the CNMI government and the Guam government. Without both of those working together, it isn't going to work. And so my comment to Senator Barnes was, would she assist in getting that cooperation as the first step, and it's a huge step, in getting that cooperation in a public-private corporation format where both the governments control it through 51% ownership, and she said she would. So there's many, I don't want to mislead you, there's many, not hurdles, but many, many details we need to look at to establish the viability of a ferry, but I think it's essential to get the concept mutually approved by both governments, and she's been very instrumental in getting that done. I want to thank you very much. So that's the basis of my testimony here. I'm here as a private citizen, trying to encourage both governments working together, and I think the benefit of that will be even broader than just the ferry. There's so many mutual issues between the CNMI, particularly Rhoda and Guam. So I thank you for your attention and allowing me to make these comments.
You're very welcome, Mr. Smith. And at this time, I'll go ahead and yield to the speaker for any comments or questions, and also in her other hat as the APIL president. Thank you to my co-chair for yielding to that.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I know that, Martin, you had indicated that you wanted to provide 2 additional amendments to be added to the resolution. I'm wondering for the others as well, is one other resolve clause in reading the resolutions, the possibility of maybe, although we know it's a resolution, whether the additional resolve clause is to probably put together, a task force, a committee between, of course, Rhoda and Guam for that pilot, and consider the pilot. But the last thing is that, and as stated earlier, is the support from the CNMI government. And although in your testimony it indicated that the governor is supportive of this, and the lieutenant governor, but would the resolution, the passage of a resolution, then trigger additional support that maybe the governor on that side would be able to consider then, and be in support of a committee to put together to collect whatever data you've had the experience already of a ferry, and look at the positive and negative impact of that, and why it's no longer in operation, versus then what we would do on our side to collect whatever data again we need, so we can bring these 2 committee members together. So would this then trigger that as well with your government?
I honestly believe so, Madam Speaker. And I think the governor, when he asked me to come here to represent his office and to show that we are very interested in this new development, I think his support will be there on any new developments that will come about. But of course, he's there to see that this is something that would like to see it go through as far as regional. Because in the very beginning, he's always supported the feasibility study between the CNMI and Guam. But unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, the scope has been changed. But again, with the commitment already coming from Guam, that's it. That's the trigger.
Can you share why the ferry you had at one time somehow didn't work, and for it to continue?
Just based on my understanding, a little history, we have some data, some movement, transportation data for the ferry passengers between the 2 terminals. One of the reasons why that I learned what happened to the ferry, of course, the ferry was operated 100% by a private company. And when the economy is bad, as a business decision, they're just not making it. So they decided just to shut, because they were relying a lot from passengers from Saipan who also were garment workers at the time. And that ferry was busy when the garment workers were there. And then when the garment factory closed down in 2005, of course, the passengers also went away with it. So that's one of the problems, is that also the expense of operating the ferry and not having a local or federal subsidy or any other partnership. And of course, they weren't marketing. There's no advertisement. So again, I felt that those were the factors of them deciding just to shut down. They're just not making it. Other than maybe, I don't know if there's any, issue with Coast Guard or the vehicle themselves, but that was the main factor that I understand what went wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Yes. Sure.
I think another issue is the channel between Saipan and Tinian and Rota and Guam is very similar but unique. We have a very large swell height. And I've done a study, there's a buoy off Route Tinian, which is pretty representative of the channel. Swells can get up to 14 feet, and that's very high. And so I think I wasn't there when the other ferry, I've heard stories of when the wave heights were high, it was very difficult. People were very uncomfortable. But technology has made a lot of changes on that. And as a matter of fact, I leave tomorrow at 7 to go to Hawaii to meet with a naval architect. They've come up with a boat that's now in use in Hawaii, which they say has very similar wave height issues as we have here. So I think the passenger comfort, which was a big issue then, hopefully we can ameliorate. So that's a technical issue we have to face, but hopefully I think the technology has come a long way towards solving that.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Vice Speaker, Vice Chair.
Thank you very much. I'm glad we discussed that. And Mr. Mayor, I was not on island, but if you would please extend my condolences to the family of the fisherman that was lost here in the accident at the mouth of Hagåtña Bay. And Mr. Camacho, I appreciate, that was an excellent piece of testimony that you provided. But in it, I had to reread the resolution and read yours again, because there is something in your testimony that I wasn't sure if it was not included in the resolution and if what the intention was, and that you kept mentioning auto passenger ferry. And in my reading of the resolution, there is no mention of auto as part of the ferry. And I wanted to thank Mr. Martin, though we still consider you a bona fide resident of Guam. You're not going to get away. So forget it. you can try, but you're not getting away. But anyway, I appreciated your closing comments where you made two suggestions about limiting it to a pilot project. And I'm just wondering, with all of the hurdles that we have to take into account with moving cars between jurisdictions, the licensing, the registration, all that kind of stuff, if we might want to consider initially doing this just as a pilot with passengers to determine its viability, and then later on try to deal with the hurdles of car registrations and all the other things that come with moving automobiles between different jurisdictions. But I like the idea, but I'm glad we discussed the wave and the swell issue, and because safety is paramount, and nothing will destroy a project faster than a fatal accident of some sort, and we can overcome the comfort ones if it, but the safety is paramount. So I thank all three of the sponsors and all of you for testifying. I support the concept. I'm a little concerned about how far we take it and whether or not we take Martin's suggestion a little further and work with a pilot study or a feasibility study first to see how this works. Thank you.
Yeah, just 2 comments, Senator B.J. Cruz. We wanted to look at the model that what the people of Tinian as a wish list for this ferry feasibility study that's undergoing right now, is that one of the reasons why the Tinian Saipan ferry, the previous operator, failed also, which I forgot to mention, is that they lack the additional revenue. That is transporting auto. And when you transport autos, it's a different fare price. And also what's in that delivery trucks or vans. So that's one of the reasons why that the people of Tinian felt that including an auto plus a passenger would also increase the revenue as well as increase the commuter, the transit between Tinian and Saipan. The other question is about between Guam and Rota crossing waters. In the transportation language, we use the term blue highway. So if you can imagine, we cannot build a bridge, right? So that allows even other states to cross other states with different governments. So having a blue highway versus a bridge or a tunnel, the only course for us is the marine highway. And we can use that and establish that as our highway to Rota or to Guam. So that's one of the reasons why I think this, and also this auto, I can mention, like you said, I can mention auto is that it's very critical because that's how it'll help also. People want to go to Rota for the day, for 2 days without, going through many different, vehicle issue, but they have their own car. They can, travel to Guam, drive around Guam, visit families, get on the ferry the same day, go back to Rota. So it has a lot of benefits to it. It's just that this concept of between a bridge and a tunnel versus connecting two interstate or two islands in Puget Sound, Seattle, we're using the Blue Highway, Marine Highway as the same concept as what bridge and ferries offers, or the ferry highway. Thank you.
I just hope that the car rental people are the same there and here so that we don't have to...
Well, I think they are. Yeah. Actually, the ones on Rota or in Guam, if they want to go, they can rent the car here, and they can return their car over there, or there's a lot of ways to work this out.
Food for what, Mayor?
I think one thing, this will be supported by the data, and this is a fact that Rota in itself, our merchandise are 90% coming from Guam. Now, having a cargo capability on that ferry service, aside from roll-on, roll-off, will greatly support our transportation need. Right now, we're having a barge system that in most times you'll just pass Rota. So economically speaking, then we have nothing on the shelf to sell. But with this capability of a combination passenger, roll-on, roll-off, or cargo, then we can greater expand our marketing opportunities. As far as car rental, I guess you are a witness. Sometimes we come to Rota, all car rentals are out. So this is an opportunity to provide that car rental population, or rather number of car rentals, be it from Guam car rental. They have also counterparts in our island. So this is one door of opportunity. And I thank you for considering also the Commonwealth Ports Authority manager, Mr. Martin Mendiola, mentioned that we consider this also as a pilot project, and to include the roll-on, roll-off, or cargo capability. Thank you.
Si Jose Masi, Senator Ada.
Since Masi, I too am very receptive and supportive of the concept of establishing a bridge between, the transportation between Guam and Rota. And while while support is necessary from both governments, the bottom line is that I guess we're going to need to do a feasibility study to see what kind of vessels we're going to need, what's the possible demand and all that. Is there a cost estimate for what that feasibility study might cost for? Because at the end of the day, if it's one thing to say, yeah, we support it, but we need to put the money up front to be able to do that study.
Yeah, currently the Saipan TNL feasibility study is maximized at $175,000. Yeah, to do the study. But that's federally funded from Federal Highway. So to do just road of Guam, probably it may be lower and maybe the same. And
How
how say
will-
save
how-
$200,000 maybe.
And who will take the lead to determine what that cost might be for the feasibility? From the standpoint of at least what's the financial implications that Gov Guam may have to put up?
As far as the study fees is concerned,
Yeah.
it's actually, that was federally funded. $0 from the CNMI was spent.
Do you know if federal funds might
Federal
be
Highway-
available?
Yeah, Federal Highway may have, for technical assistance, may include that in your, if you have your territorial transport improvement plan, you may include that in there.
So for planning purposes, where the Tinian Saipan was $175,000 feasibility. How long ago was that?
I think that was, the money was approved, I think, like a year ago already.
Okay. All right.
But it was part of the territorial transport improvement plan. That's
Sure.
how the money was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you. All right. Oh, just one more thing. Who would be taking lead in then taking it to the next step, putting out the RFP? That's assuming that the money is there. At least Gov Guam puts its share in. The money is there in the CNMI. Who do you envision will be taking lead on basically taking it in the next step so that we get the study
I think
initiated?
we can have a dual lead between CODA, which is our office, and also the GRTA of Guam, because they also have the Section 5311 funding from the FTA, which also we can also include in our next budget, for example, include a planning money in there for the feasibility study if in case Federal Highway doesn't have it readily available.
Okay.
So FTA can also fund such study as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ada. I'd be remiss if I didn't read this into the record from the Guam Regional Transit Authority, who apologize for not being here because they have a scheduled meeting this morning. It says, Hafaday Senator Barnes, Committee on Municipal Affairs, Tourism, Housing, and Hagåtña Redevelopment. And then the Guam Regional Transit is pleased to provide our support for Resolution 279-32 COR. The Guam Regional Transit Authority has been the forefront runner of support and technical assistance to public transportation and the development for 34 years. GRTA recognizes and appreciates the leading edge knowledge that Guam, the CNMI, will be able to work and expand our relationship within the region. In particular, the proposed ferry service and similar vessels will benefit the general public, military, and tourists in collaboration with the overall transportation for Guam and the CNMI. Guam, with enhanced capabilities to coordinate transportation, improves efficiency and addresses the need of our community. The technical assistance that Guam Regional Transit Authority can provide and assist your senior staff is most welcome. We applaud success, and I am confident that this resolution, partnering with our CNMI families, will continue the forward movement of advancing transit services and best practices for the individuals with disabilities, their families, and the agencies that serve them. GRTA provides the highest support and recommendation for a positive review of this resolution. Sidus Masi, Mr. Rudy Cabana, Acting Executive Manager for the Guam Regional Transit Authority. That was received over the weekend, and I just want to thank Mr. Cabana for turning that in. I'm most appreciative of the delegation from Rhoda and Saipan being here and your efforts in moving this forward and the opportunity that you gave us to present our resolution in both Rhoda and Saipan and the support that's there. Speaker brings up a good inquiry about how the collaboration will work and how it would entail and the task force that it will take, and the committee envisions that a full collaboration of both parties and that task force being committed by both islands, by the islands, and then even looking at the suggestions of working that pilot project. I do know that in conversation with the governor and the Senate President and the Vice President of the Senate of CNMI, their envision also is, because Saipan to Tinian and that feasibility study already being worked on, what way then is to bridge that component with this additional ingredient that is needed to pilot project the Guam Rota route, and with the support of the community and the stakeholders, I think we can see that happening. We do look into tapping in to federal resources to get the impact done, the study done, but more importantly, as we look at true public-private partnerships happening and making sure that the governments play a part of that, that will ease the strain of needing any kind of resources from the government, but knowing that the governments have to pay, both governments have to play the integral part in moving this program forward. Are there any other questions or comments? Speaker Wampat?
Thank you again. And thank you for mentioning that this will be the Blue Highway, because as you know, APIL already, all of the islands within APIL, we have declared that we are the Blue Continent. Also, we recently, last December or November, latter part of November, we met with the Mariana Island Legislatures Association, our first inaugural meeting, and one of the suggestions to pilot was just between Guam and the Mariana, CNMI, that we do a cruise liner industry to help, of course, the islands and their economy. So, because originally we were pushing for the Blue Continent, but we wanted to pilot this just between Guam and CNMI. The other thing to take into consideration, aside just from federal highway to get any federal dollars or even from the local government, there's another group of individuals or organization that we seriously would consider, and because the United States is a big player, there's the Asian Development Bank, and one of the things that they look at is the economic development of countries and islands, and definitely because in just recently, in an effort to look at regional health care, we weren't just looking at the federal government to get funding, but we are already able now to get funding from the Asia Development Bank, and then the third group is a private company from a consortium of the health insurance companies. So I think we can take that same model and then use it as well, for this particular study, because what we're doing is we needed to do an actuarial study. By the same token, we need to do the exact same thing, a study as well, a feasibility study for this, particular program. So encourage your Speaker Joe De Leon Guerrero, and Senator Pete Regis, who are both APIL members, that when we meet this summer for our General Assembly, that they should seriously consider introducing a resolution that will be supported by APIL. For this Blue Highway. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Speaker Wampat. If there are no other questions or comments from my colleagues and those in the audience, I want to extend my undangkul si Jules Masi for all of you being here today, but more importantly, as we move forward, I hope to get the committee report completed before the end of the week, and its full requests that it be on session floor for next week's January session. So with that being said, I'm going to call this public hearing on Resolution 279-32CR come to a full adjournment at 11:25 a.m. Sana mga sinsidyoson binidisi am sa todo sa. Thank you. Thank you.